Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is your host, Tarod Rashawn, and you are now tuned in to Tarodcast. For all of the brand new listeners out there listening to our show for the very first time, welcome. To all of the returning listeners coming back for another weekly dose of Tarodcast wonderfulness, welcome back. Now at Tarodcast, you can take everything we say with a grain of salt. We simply just want to add some flavor to your meal. So if we're doing that, then we are doing our job. Today's episode actually comes from a couple of observations and a little bit of retrospection, just thinking about the different types of TV shows I've seen in my past growing up, and the fact that they've involved so many people who have dealt with this one particular issue in so many ways. So without further ado, today's episode topic is Cheater, Cheater, Pumpkin Eater. This is Tarodcast. Let's get it. All right, everyone. Welcome back to Tarodcast. Again, I'm your host, Tarod Rashawn, and first and foremost, I just want to say thank you to everyone who has continued to support not only Tarodcast, but support me. The last couple of weeks have been very introspective. A lot has happened within the last couple of weeks. Labor Day happened, and I feel like there was just time that was needed in order to just allow everything to process, everything that was happening to just, to just happen, to let minds decompress, and then to come back, whether or not you can make sense of everything, to come back with some sort of renewed energy and vigor and zeal. And so for everyone that has continued to support me and to support Tarodcast in this way, thank you. I love you. To all of the Patreon supporters, thank you for continuing to give us the opportunity to provide high quality entertainment for not only you, but the people who are also listening alongside you. I know I don't say it enough, but at the same time, I really, really appreciate you guys and what you all are doing to keep this particular production going. Like, you all are the ones who are making this happen. And for all of you who are listening and reviewing and sharing this with other people, I really appreciate you. I love you. And y'all are the ones who are putting me and putting these topics into the viewpoints of others who, whether they agree or disagree, it's something that hopefully even those people will have an opportunity to take something away from. And I can't do this alone. And so I just want to say thank you to all of you who have been supporting and doing everything that you're doing, whether I know about it or not. It still makes a difference either way. And so I just wanted to say that and to just say thank you just for continuing to have patience with me and just giving me the opportunity to just sort things out and have a little bit of time to allow my mind to just decompress. Because the last episode was an episode that I didn't plan, and at the same time, I knew it needed to happen. But, I can tell that y'all can probably tell there's a marked difference in the tone of the last show and today's show. So I hope you all are excited. This is an episode that for me, it's fun. It's fun. And I can't wait to dive deep into it because we're going to be talking about some taboos about cheating and things like that. So we might even have some things that may make you redefine your definition of cheating. So before we get into all of that, let's go ahead and take care of our housekeeping details. So If you would like to take our podcast with you on the go, just know that we are on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Podchaser, Podcast Addict, iHeartRadio, Deezer, YouTube, my website, CRTN-T.com, Spreaker, Spotify. Yeah, I don't have this in front of me. I'm actually doing this from memory. I may have missed one, but it'll be in the show notes. So if you're trying to take our show with you on the go, just know that we are on plenty of platforms. And so if there's any platform that I've mentioned, or if you want to listen directly from our website at www.CRTN-T, that's CRTN-T.com, you can definitely listen directly from our site or download any podcasting app of your choice to take our show with you on the go. Also, we are on Throne. Throne is a free live messaging program that allows us here at Tarodcast to directly reach our listeners. And so make sure to sign up if you'd like to keep the conversations going after the episode. Throne is awesome. I mean, I've used it a few times, and just looking at the platform is very easy to use, and I like it. And I can't wait to continue to have episodes and to actually host different things that direct back to our Throne platform. It's actually a really, really cool thing to have, and it actually corresponds directly with our Patreon and social media as well. So really good tool to have. Also, if you are in the market for ultimate hydration for hair and skin, hit up The Resilient Lotus at www.theresilientlotus.com. And last but not least, if you are a lover of authentic chunky salsas and birria tacos, hit up Morenita's Salsitas. I also have been one of her guinea pigs when it comes to trying the different salsa varieties that she comes up with. And I'm not going to lie, I've probably packed on a few extra pounds because of it. But you know what? It's happy weight. And I'm just going to balance it with keto. And we're just going to make it work because those salsas are amazing. But make sure to hit her up on the Facebook page. She also has an order form page on CRTN-T.com as well. But if you are looking for any of this information, especially this information in detail, just make sure to hit up our show notes. We have it all in there. All right, y'all. So we're going to talk about cheater, pumpkin eater. Now, that is a phrase that has been echoed on many a playground, many a game of tag or whatever the case, freeze tag. You know, any kid who is basically bending the rules in order for them to be advantageous in the game. Yeah, cheater, pumpkin eater is a phrase that is probably older than me. But in this particular case, we are talking about this from the standpoint of cheating, from the relationship viewpoint. Now, what is cheating? Now, a lot of people in the traditional relationship sense is going to define cheating as having a sexual relationship or a sexual encounter with someone who is not your significant other. Now, a lot of the shows that I have watched over the course of my 30 years here on this planet have been shows like Jerry Springer and Maury Povich and Cheaters, as a matter of fact. I know on a lot of these shows, or rather Maury Povich and Jerry Springer, you typically have the person who is doing the cheating being the person that is being introduced to the crowd or the audience first and saying that they have a secret that they need to tell their significant other. And the only way that they're able to do it is through this show. And so basically the significant other is sitting in the backstage waiting room, completely soundproofed from everything that's going on, and the host will typically bring them out. The person will tell them, hey, I love you so much, and I just need to let you know this secret. And the significant other is like, all right, well, what is it? And then the person is like, I've been cheating on you with such and such, so and so. And typically the person is someone that is related to the person or close to the person, or someone that person may know. It could be a sibling, it could be a friend, it could be a coworker, whomever. It's typically someone that the significant other knows or knows of. And one of the funniest things that happens with these shows, when they admit that they've been cheating and sleeping with this other person, is that this other person, this third person, is also on the show as well. And they bring them out, and it's this big confrontation. People are cussing and crying, and there are bleeps everywhere, and tears are shedding. People are running backstage and crying on the couch, and people are fighting and calling each other names and all this stuff. It's all of this drama, and it all happens simply because two people had sex outside of a relationship, whether that relationship was disclosed or not. And so we see televised on that medium the explosive drama, the made for TV type drama, the drama that brings people back to watch every week, the drama that fuels the lie detector tests and the paternity tests and all these different things. So we see that from that perspective. And I remember the show Cheaters as well. Cheaters basically was like a private investigating show where one person hired the cheaters crew to basically spy on their significant other, to follow them and to track their whereabouts and to report the things that they were able to find. So the person suspects that they're getting cheated on or something else is happening, and the cheaters crew, they go to town. Literally, they're following this person. They're tracking their movements. It's very, very interesting to watch, and they bring these results back to the person who made the inquiry, and then at the very end of the show they bust the person doing the cheating, and then the person being cheated on confronts their significant other, and just a lot of drama that's happening. And it's just very, very interesting to see, because a lot of this centers around the thought or the act of sexual relations with another person outside of your significant other. Now, this makes me think about the fact that when it comes to not only the value but the taboo of sex, we tend to elevate sexual relations to a height that for a lot of people it is the pinnacle of expression. It is the pinnacle of security. It's what brings two people truly together in a lot of people's minds. And so if one person is out having sex with another person that's not their significant other, that particular act is viewed as especially heinous, because in the traditional sense, sex is one of the highest heights that two people can achieve together. And I know for men, and I can only speak for men because I am a man. Well, I identify as a man. When it comes to the majority of us, we're not emotionally secure. And so we look at sex, or we look at our sexual prowess as something that validates us, something that gives us a sense of security as men when it comes to our relationship. And so if we are able to lock it down and put it down in the bedroom, there won't be a need for our significant other to look elsewhere. But again, this is a product of only being emotionally mature to the level of like a 12 or 13-year-old. Because there are a lot more nuances to securing a relationship that a lot of us don't learn about until we're like actual grown men. And when I say actual grown men, I mean like for us, you know, being in our, oh God, probably our 50s. Because a lot of us still ain't shit even now. And so, you know, there's life that has to be lived. There are lessons that have to be learned. There are losses that have to be experienced in order to ascertain the actual value of our emotions and having control over our emotions and being able to accept our vulnerability. You know, when I think about the fact that most men are at their most vulnerable when they're having sex or when they are in the process of speaking about it or engaging in it or the foreplay, you know, I think about the fact that, you know, that's the only time that a man can truly either give away or lose his power when it comes to a woman. Now, again, this is more so speaking from the man-woman relationship, because for me and in my viewpoint and my foundation, that's the experience I have. And so if it's different for you, you know, reach out, let me know, because I only know my experiences from this side. And so if this does or doesn't apply to you, I definitely understand. I can only speak from the male female standpoint as far as relationships go and how I see them. But anyway, as a man, we tend to look at the woman as the vessel that allows us to escape into her, to give her our all. And in turn, she will do that for us, to the point where if we are truly invested in the experience, we will be lost in one another. But the thing is, not a lot of men are confident enough to be lost in a woman. It reminds me of the movie Don John. That's actually a really good movie. You should watch it. It's got Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Scarlett Johansson, one of my favorite actresses, Julianne Moore. It's a really good movie, and you know, it's one of those things where when you watch it, you're just like, wow, there are actually a lot of guys who actually think like this, whether they admit it or not. And then they find someone that truly challenges them and it wants them to get lost in the experience, as opposed to trying to get lost in the expectation of what's happening. And I'm not going to spoil it, but it's a really good movie. Again, I recommend you watch it. But when it comes to getting lost in the woman, that is something that for a lot of men, it's frightening, because it involves being at an emotional, being at a point where you are vulnerable in your most emotional self. And because a lot of men don't know what that's like, or they may assimilate that with weakness, this can lead to what I like to call the wayward dick syndrome, which is, I got that from The Best Man, Morris Chestnut's character, where you believe that you as a man have all of the power and you command women. And when you lock down a woman, that she literally bends to your every whim. But the moment that she decides to do a little something extra on her own, you break down all the way to your core. And that power dynamic, that shift is a result of men not having the emotional maturity to be on the receiving end of someone that's being cheated on, as opposed to being the cheater. And so I say that because, again, from this standpoint, the way that we look at it is all based on a sexual interaction. And on the male standpoint, sexual interactions are the highest form for many men of emotional connection with their partner. But the thing is, what if I were to tell you that sex, yes, is definitely a form of emotional communication, connection, and spirituality, but there's actually more to it that many men don't even consider. We're going to talk about that after this first break. So, hope you have your water close by. Go ahead and take a drink of that, and we'll be right back. This is Tarodcast. Yo, what's good, everyone? This is your host of Tarodcast, Tarod Rashan, and I just want to welcome you to the commercial break. Now, you already know what time it is. It's hydration time. Get some high-quality H2O in your system now. Got a few things I'd like to go over. First, to all of our new and returning listeners, thank you so much for your ear and your time. To all of our Patreon supporters, I just want you to know that we are not able to do this without your direct support. So the biggest, dopest Tarodcast thank you goes out to you. If you're listening in and you're thinking about becoming part of the Tarodcast Patreon family, we'd love to have you. You can find us at www.patreon.com/Tarodcast. Now on Patreon, we have 3 tiers of support: a $2 tier, a $3 tier, and lastly, a $6 tier. Each tier comes with its own set of unique perks. So if you find one that fits you, sign up. For us, the main thing is keeping our subscription prices affordable. We know that you work hard for your money, and if you choose to support Tarodcast this way, we truly want to make it worth your time. To find out more about our Patreon and the perks with each tier, visit www.patreon.com/Tarodcast. We've got it all laid out for you. Also, we've got a merchandise store. Pick up some tees, hoodies, leggings, and more at forevercertain.redbubble.com. All proceeds go right back into the Tarodcast podcast and allow us to keep making high quality content for people just like you. For our listeners out there who would like to support us in a non-monetary way, we'd love that too. Share our show with people you know. Also, share us on your social media. And if your favorite Tarodcast streaming service allows you to rate and review our show and you're loving what you're hearing, take some time and leave us a 5-star review. Ratings and reviews are what set us apart from other podcasts, and also helps us to recommend our podcast to other listeners we otherwise wouldn't have the opportunity to reach. Lastly, if you'd like to reach out to us directly, email us at tarodcast@CRTN-T.com. That's tarodcast@CRTN-T.com. All of this information can always be found in our episode notes, so make sure to check there if you forget any of the information we just went over. Once again, thank you all so much, and let's get back to the program. All right, everyone. Welcome back to Tarodcast. I'm your host, Tarod Rashan, and we are going to get back into the topic. So, I told y'all before the commercial break that there's basically levels to this. And one of the things that a lot of men don't end up realizing when it comes to cheating is that cheating is a lot more of an emotional thing. It's a lot more emotionally binding. And so, thinking about the way that the majority of men are wired, not all, but the majority of men are not necessarily wired when it comes to being an emotional being. They're not hardwired to understand and to find the importance and the value in their specific emotions. Now, a lot of women are. And so when we think about the emotional connection that we can have with one another, when both man and woman are firing on all cylinders and they click, then the chemistry is something that is, it's in essence all on its own. It is something that words don't ever have to be spoken. You don't even have to touch that person. It can be the simplest glance, look, the stare, whatever it is. It could be the most simplest gesture, and it communicates a message that only those two will understand and will be able to decipher. Now, when it comes to this, a lot of men don't really catch on to how significant this is. And the thing is, a lot of women, they are the ones who are able to read between a lot of the lines. They're able to see those details. They're able to see those actions. They're able to assign those subtle details that increase the level of emotional emotional excitement and emotional clarity in a person. And so when it comes to cheating on a woman's side, it's not always about the physical or the sexual connection, but oftentimes it's the emotional side. Like, how does this person affect me at my core? It goes a lot deeper because, and I've heard many stories, but there are women who have had sexual experiences, and it does not matter how well endowed the man is. It is the way that he conducts himself in that act. It is the way that he speaks to her, the way that he talks to her, the way that he makes her feel and concentrates on her specifically, and is a vessel that is willing to give to her just as much as she is wanting to give to him. And when it comes to that, there is a emotional bond and security there, because that person has allowed themselves to feel those emotional bonds, to trust in that emotional security. And the thing is, this translates into other actions that are even outside of sex, where a lot of men are stuck on the sexual plane. A lot of women, they transcend, and it's more of the connection plane, where when you connect with somebody, or you know exactly what you're getting from this person, it's more about what you can get and how you can be fulfilled in that experience outside of your significant other. And in listening to these types of stories and whatnot, I was actually amazed just knowing that for women it's far less physical, and for men it's so much more physical. And so if a man hears of a woman cheating, they think about it on the physical side. It attacks them at their core, because they're wondering, is this man stronger than me? Is he bigger than me? Does he have a better stroke? Is he doing more than me? Things like that. But what the thing that a lot of us don't get is, if that is the case, it's more than likely this man is actually listening to me. This man actually pays attention to me. This man actually supplies me with the emotional availability that I need in order to feel like I am wanted and that I am desired and that I am heard. You know, one of the things that I have never been a fan of is the thought that that a woman should be basically a living, breathing sex toy. You know, where if you're a man, you know, it doesn't matter if you have a woman or a fleshlight in front of you. You know, it's you're only thinking about yourself. You know, there's no verbal nor nonverbal communication to tell her that you are in this experience with her. You know, where you could do this same act with another person and you wouldn't think twice about it, you know. But again, that's because a lot of men have only reached the physical plane when it comes to this type of thing. So if they are the ones being cheated on, it hits them harder because emotionally they are not mature. They don't have nor possess the readiness or the availability to really connect where it really matters. And so when it comes to cheating, you know, it's one of those things that when I think about it from an observer's perspective, there is a lot more communication that has not happened. A lot of the more important details that are supposed to be gluing the relationship that have not yet been discussed, whether it's out of fear or whether it's out of hurt or whether it's out of trauma, whatever it is, there is a level of trust that has yet to be reached in order for those conversations to happen. And so because those conversations don't happen, there is a level of ascension that's not happening because the two people in the relationship are not seeing everything eye to eye. And that's where a lot of the issues can stem from, because there are a lot of guys out here who think that they can just fix things by having sex with a woman. You know, movies romanticize this all the time, but that's not always the case. Again, a woman can be emotionally absent, but physically present. And if a man is still able to feel satisfied and not recognize that his woman is emotionally absent from the situation, then that's a problem. That is a huge communication problem. And yes, that definitely needs to be addressed. But most men, again, they don't ascend past that physical plane, that physical interaction plane, to recognize the fact that a woman is not emotionally connected to you. And when it comes to a lot of the women, there is that longing for emotional understanding and bonding where they feel like they are truly valued in any and all experiences that don't necessarily even have to be sex at all, which is why on the cheating spectrum, when it comes to my thoughts on women, it also does not have to include sex. It is also, who are you giving your emotional availability to? Who has the majority of your loyalty? Who do you turn to first whenever those things in your life come up and they are extremely difficult or painful? And a lot of men, they don't have the capacity to even understand that, which is why a lot of women will, seek out counsel from other people, and other people who may have either more life experience or more time and availability or more empathy. they have more of an opportunity of potentially developing a sexual relationship because there is a bond that's being formed based on the emotional capacity of the two individuals and how they're able to understand one another. You know, empathy is a powerful thing. A lot of men don't have empathy. And so even though most men who are engaging in sexual activities are the most vulnerable during that time, that's the only time where that's able to really happen. Whereas with a lot of women, their minds are looking at being understood and being heard, being accepted, being valued, being wanted, being desired, and having another person that exemplifies those things without having to be asked or without having to be forced or coerced. You know, it runs the potential risk of a sexual relationship developing out of that because they feel secure. They feel that everything that they're experiencing is right. Like, this person truly gets me, and my significant other doesn't have a clue. And so it's a lot deeper, which is why it cuts a lot deeper for men, because most of us don't get it. Most of us don't get it because we cannot typically see past our members. We cannot see past that, because to be emotionally vulnerable for a lot of men is thought to be weak. And the thing is, that's one of the biggest things that honestly is not only a turn on, but a sense of security for a woman when it comes to validating the success of a relationship. Is how open can we be with one another? Because you'll hear a lot of people who will say that, you know, things are great, but they're also the same people who are slowly but surely becoming more and more disconnected because they stop not only learning each other, but learning themselves. And when you stop that process, you basically leave yourself dead in the water. And you allow the potential experience of another person to come in with those characteristics and traits that you may be lacking. You allow them that opportunity to fulfill that need that's not being met, and now a new bond is being created. Most men don't understand that. Most men will be immediately thrust into their fight or flight response because they don't understand how bonds are created. And because of that, a man is more easily broken down because now it's really hitting an emotional level, a level that should have been reached a long time ago, but it was stunted. It was stunted because the mindset of tapping into your emotions being weak has been so prevalent. So again, when I think about the different levels of what we may deem to be cheating, is it really cheating? I feel like it's more of a reflection of ourselves. What is it that makes us who we are? Do we have the capacity to reach one another in all ways? If we don't, do we communicate that so that we can learn that? If we do we practice this? Do we understand that there are more levels to life and experience than just sex? Do we understand that having a secure emotional bond with someone is just as important, because when we get old, we're not, there might be some of us out here who are still like freaky, 80 years old trying to do some stuff. But when we get old and our bodies don't work the same, are we still going to be hanging on to the physical connection, or are we going to have something deeper that keeps us together? That's really something worth thinking about, because thinking about that, we really have to understand that we are people. We have to be able to justify the relationships that we have, that we hold on to, especially the ones that we have with our significant others. And what will you say about this person, especially on the male side? What will you say? If you can't say much, then I'm sorry, you're not where you need to be. You really need to tap into that emotional side, because a lot of women are already there. They're already there, and they're looking to form those types of relationships that make them feel secure as a person. And so being able to add to that security is going to be what helps to sustain that relationship. Cheating has many, many hats, but at the end of the day, the way that I see it, it is a reflection on who you are and who you are yet to be, because there may be some things that you may not understand. There may be some things that you may not know, and it's up to you to figure that out. So with that being said, y'all, I know this episode was kind of everywhere, but at the same time, I don't really believe that cheating is limited to the sexual experiences. When I think about the overall impact of this word in relationships, it makes me think about the fact that there's so many different ways that we can give ourselves to other people that we don't do with our significant others. And that could be just as bad, especially if it's loyalty, if it's your first, if it's your first thought to give your loyalty to someone else other than your significant other with, no sex involved. That's also, cheating. I feel like that's the highest form of cheating, to be quite honest, because sex is sex. But at the same time, again, many people don't understand that, it can only go so far. But who we are as a person, who we give our deepest, darkest selves to, that's the most important thing. And so if that person is not you, if you're not the one receiving that, then you really need to figure out what it is that you're either doing or not doing in order to help to remedy that issue. But y'all, that's our show. I appreciate you for listening. Thank you very much. Make sure to leave us a 5-star review. You know where to find us. You know how to support us. As you all know, we always want you to take every moment to be more introspective, to trust yourself, to love yourself, to know yourself, and to always believe in yourself. I hope that you make every effort to not only find and keep your peace, but to continue to grow, to continue to reevaluate, to continue to be more and to strive for more. To understand that you are someone who is continuously growing, continuously improving, continuously becoming the next version of yourself. And I hope that you're doing that with excellence. And yeah, that's it. I thank you all for listening. I've been your host, Tarod Rashan. This has been another episode of Tarodcast. And yeah, we'll talk to y'all next time. Take care.